It's the LA Football Podcast.
Touchdown Ram! Recovered by the Chargers. Touchdown UCLA!
With USC great and NFL stud, Frostee Rucker.
The Trojans back in front.
And LAFB founder Ryan Dyrud on the Believe Podcast Network and LAFBnetwork.com. This is your destination for Los Angeles football.
What's up, Los Angeles football fans, and welcome back to the Believe in LA Football podcast here on the Believe Podcast Network, also on LAFBnetwork.com, your destination for Los Angeles football. Well, I'm sure you heard it from the new intro. Excited to welcome on my new outstanding co-host. He was on the show last week, but he's back for more, back for the foreseeable future. Frostee Rucker, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here. What's up, LA? I'm here. Let's talk.
That's right. Happy to have you, brother. It's gonna be a fun show. We got big things lined up for the hopeful season, and it's just gonna be fun to talk. You know, tell your stories, interview great players, and just talk about LA football.
Dude, I'm stoked just to be a part of this, man. You built something great. I want to add to it. I know the LA football fans, they need us, and this is why we're here.
That's right. That's right. You know, I talk about this all the time, but I just feel like LA is the number 2 media market in the world, they say. I think it's number 1, but our football teams really are underrepresented. I think this is obviously still Lakers town, probably Dodgers town, but there's so many great, not just LA football teams currently, but the history of the USC Trojans, obviously what you did there, history of even UCLA, you back to the Rams of the 70s and 80s. You look at even the Chargers. Raiders, yeah, of course, the Raiders we can talk about some. And the Chargers were even born here at 1960. I know they're only here for a year, but now they're back. So I know you're going to just bring great value, and I'm excited for all of our listeners to just get to know you more.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. Like you said, I think LA is the number 1 media market in the world. It always has been, always will be, even though I will say New York is a distant number 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, LA sports are by far the best. Obviously, I have my LeBron Lakers shirt on. For you guys that can't see me right now, it's a Lakers shirt. It's pretty sweet. Got it at a downtown district avenue where they are passing out shirts like this, and it looks pretty sweet. So I love my Lakers. I'm glad they're starting up. But are we talking football or are we talking basketball?
Well, I mean, we're talking football, but we can touch on it since you brought it up. I mean, how you feel about the Lakers going into this new bubble format? It's kind of interesting down in Orlando. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Or are you just happy it's back?
I mean, it just adds on to 2020. You know, what else could there be? To come up with a place and a venue to host the NBA playoffs and to get them going, and B, at Disney, you know? So these guys have to have some huge amount of focus to do their jobs, get back into basketball playing shape. And I'm excited for it. You know, everyone needs sports. How safe it's going to be, that's to be determined. But we need sports. I need something to talk about. I need something to watch. And go LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers.
No, we knew LeBron. No, I feel it. I yesterday, I'm not a big, I like soccer. I love the World Cup and stuff. But I was up yesterday at like 6 a.m. watching. It was the first MLS game back for the MLS's back tournament. I'm watching like a Philadelphia, New York game or something just because I'm like, I want live sports. Like, we got to have it. We can watch like old replays all the time. I love doing that anyway. I'm a big history guy, but at some point you just need something to escape from what we're in.
Yeah. And right now, I think with basketball coming back, it's going to be a huge thing and benefit sports because not only are they going to be playing basketball, but I know personally, I'm excited to see where they take this social climate and what are the things that they do as organizations, as individual teams. I'm excited to see what message they send. So sports is needed. I'm happy for it.
Well, and looking at collegiately, more so probably the NFL, it's good that they'll have kind of a blueprint for how these first leagues, the MLS, the NBA, the NHL is also coming back, Major League Baseball. They'll have kind of a blueprint of how they do things, how they run these tests, how they, obviously have player safety. So if anything, it'll benefit our show and the NFL and college moving forward is the hope anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the NBA is the one who stopped the whole world down anyway. They made everything freeze anyway. So it's good that they're taking a lead on being really the biggest sport to gain traction and say there's a definite, we're starting here. With this COVID-19, it's just so hard to know how they're going to contain everything. So I'm just excited to hear the stories. I'm excited that I'm not involved in the aspect of putting myself at risk for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I just get to report it. So
yeah, that's perfect. Well,
um,
we were gonna kind of do that later in the show. We might as well, since we're talking about, just start with that. Just kind of COVID, what we're seeing around the league happen, and then we'll get into. We want to talk a little bit Patrick Mahomes and his deal, what that means for Jared Goff, what that means for Justin Herbert. Yeah, huge bucks. So we'll get to that and have fun talking that. But since we're already on the topic anyway, I'm curious. You know, first let's just say the Ivy League announced yesterday or 2 days ago that they're canceling all fall sports for all of their colleges, not just football. I think yesterday the California Community Athletic Association announced they're moving all their fall sports to spring, so no football there either. What do you think, just on the surface, this means for the Pac-12, means for USC, UCLA? I mean, is this the kind of the writing on the wall that the season's going to be moot, or are these just smaller programs that can afford to do that?
no, I just feel like everything's trickling down, and someone has to take the leadership role and start it off, and really let everyone know what the temperature is going to be. And if they're prolonging things and pushing things back, it's only the logical thing to follow suit. Um, do I think in actuality they're going to get a season? Not really. It's a hard thing for me to grasp how a sport of football is going to contain all these guys, bigger number than NBA. They're not playing in a bubble or living in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to, suppress this COVID-19 and keep everyone safe? Guys got to go to work. They got to go home. You can't tell them their spouse can't go to the grocery store. They can't go get a coffee or whatever it have be. How do you contain all these people to be able to regain sport? It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Are we going to see have you seen those people have them in like parks? There's those big plastic bubbles everyone goes in and they run around and knock each other around. Is that going to be what football is going to look like? You see
Like
what I'm talking about?
bumper football. Yeah, that right. That looks about right. I mean, who knows though? What else can 2020 bring to us?
Yeah,
There's going to be so many unorthodox ways of trying to get this sport. How do you social distance? How do you, especially in the sport of football, how do you tell guys not to play this whole game and then don't do a jersey swap? It's mind-boggling on what they can come up with, but someone has to take the lead and set the precedent. So, again, we have the best jobs that we get to just watch and critique and analyze.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, hopefully we get to watch, critique, and analyze. But you obviously played in college, played pros. Let's start with being a college player. If say you're at USC, which you are, and they come to you and say, "Hey, we're gonna cancel the season," are you as a player in college pushing for the season to happen, or do you prefer to take the safety side? I mean, I have my opinion what I would do, but I didn't actually play the sport. I played in high school, but curious as what your thought would be as a collegiate athlete. Do you want to play, or are the risks worth the reward? Or are you like, you know what, this is my body, I need to take care of it, and I'd rather be safe about it?
well, at that age, being 18, 19, 20, I don't think you really grasp what you are risking, especially if your common goal with everyone else is to go professional. You got to play, right?
Yeah.
But now you start thinking about administrative, like how do these guys regain their eligibility? What are we pushing it back? How do you play a sport or get pushed back and then the draft is a certain time, or you're not going to play at all? Is there not a draft class coming in this year? What is going on? So me as a student athlete, I would just play ball. I don't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking about player safety. I wasn't thinking about CTE. I wasn't thinking about any of that, right? It's just play ball. But now, when everyone's woke and they got the Instagram and they're online and they got tons of ways to plug in. It may be something that the parents got to step in and guide their kids, because as young guys, young men, young women, full of piss and vinegar, as they say it, you just want to play ball. Whatever. I'm indestructible. I can go out here and run through a wall. But now you have to be super cautious. So me, I would play, but with as much knowledge as there is or concern, I would have to ask someone for guidance in this manner.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough if you're, say you're me, which I would be, a fringe player, if you will, a guy that well, let's just say this. Let's say I made the team. I'm a starter, but I'm like borderline 7th round draft pick or undrafted free agent that maybe can walk on and maybe at least get a practice squad or training camp roster spot.
You
So
set
for
yourself
me,
real low, buddy.
look at me. I don't think I'm blowing the doors off anyone, and I didn't play college ball. But someone like me, I'm thinking, okay, if I take the year off, kids behind me their ages aren't just stopping. We're having a new crop of freshmen come in. I missed my entire freshman year because that year's gone. Now I have these new kids coming in from, all over the country, De La Salle, some of these great high schools coming to take my job. And I had a whole year off where no scouts got to see me play. I can get to improve my craft because I couldn't even play with my teammates. I play, slot receiver. I couldn't run routes with quarterbacks. I couldn't run routes with the other guys and get on the same page. So all of a sudden I'm a year behind. That hurts my NFL chances. So my future now is put on hold. So for me, I'd be like, dude, I got to play. Like, this is my livelihood. I'm willing to risk getting sick. And obviously, every case is different we've seen and who really knows how bad it actually is. For me, like, I got to get out there. I got to do something to do my future. So it's you see some of these kids, these top quarterbacks, it's not going to affect them if they have a year off. They're still going to be a 1st round draft pick most likely. But for those fringe players or the D2 players, it could be a huge, huge ramification for their entire future.
Oh, absolutely. So it becomes a business decision. And at the age 18, 19, 20, are you mature enough to make those decisions? That's why me personally, I knew I wasn't. I would have to ask for guidance. And hopefully the university is going to provide you guidance and give you an out. And if you do not want to play or you do not want to risk, you shouldn't be shamed for that either, because your health is number one. It takes the cake on that. So it's really up to the leadership. I think you need strong leadership in your life. This is where parents come in. This is when your coaches have to make solid decisions and guide the team. And the university has to put together perimeters that let the kids either, if they're going to play, here's what we're going to cover. If not, don't feel shamed. We're going to add an extra semester onto you on the back end. Because again, there's this whole administrative thing too. A lot of guys want to play pro, but they want to graduate also. So what about eligibility? And you said more guys coming in. Are they still going to be recruiting classes? Who knows? How can they do this if there's no ball? How do you recruit someone?
Yeah. No high school either. I mean, they'd probably be done too. So where are you recruiting from? So it affects the whole pool.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a mess. And, you speak of leadership. One thing I did think was cool, this isn't football related. I don't know if you saw, but USC, I think it was yesterday, announced that for their international students that are needing in-person classes to maintain their visas, they're offering like a free in-person class so they can maintain that. I thought that was super cool. So good of you.
I mean, that's leadership though.
Yeah.
These people are in fringe area. They don't know what's going on. Some people are getting deported. The university taking the steps forward to shield these students that's just the leadership we need, especially the way USC as a whole, administrative athletics and all that has been the last decade or so. This is the type of progress going forward that needs to happen. They've taken to social media and a lot of accounts to speak up about things that, before no one ever spoke up on. They would look over these things, but now they're leading the charge. So I'm glad I'm a Trojan.
Yeah. No, yeah. Great history to be a part of. I look at when I was in college, and obviously nothing compares to what we're going through now with this and the death toll and everything. But I remember, I think it was I want to say it was the swine flu or the bird flu or something when I was, was there anything when you were in college that was similar at all that maybe put you on hold, or was it pretty smooth sailing during your days, or anything at all? Where you're like, I need to pump the brakes maybe and think about something other than football, or was it all pretty?
Nothing. There's nothing, not when I was in college. There was nothing that came up like that made you even take notice or anything. We were just full steam ahead. So, and we had Coach O barking up our back. So
wouldn't have mattered either way, right?
Yeah. Coronavirus versus Coach O. I think I'm going to go with Coach O.
I think I would too.
Yeah. There's nothing that got in our way. So again, it's a troubling time. It's a questionable time, and all these events that can happen that shape these young people's livelihoods. So I'm interested to see again how the leadership takes command of it, because again, just like a principal or anything at any level, they are the key to the future for these kids. So someone has to take the leadership role here and guide these guys and make concrete rules. I'm excited to see what NCAA does.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this eligibility stuff with recruiting, and you have to have a concrete plan to calm these people's minds.
Yeah.
You know, because this has been lifelong goals since kids were 7, 8 years old to get scholarships to go to school or to go play ball. And now what?
Yeah. Well, and luckily,
nothing they did.
Yeah. Well, and luckily with football, it's a big program that doesn't hurt. But I think of like my cousin who went to Orange Lutheran, played baseball, and he's going now to Boise State to hopefully further his baseball career. Well, last week that school just announced they're literally ending baseball indefinitely because of all this. So you see stuff like, what do you do? So I mean, he's still going to go and have fun and do other things, but that's like the macro level, and then you just look at even the micro and these kids that don't live in Southern California that are committed to UCLA and USC. Are dorms going to be open for them to live? Do they have to find housing with friends, with random people? Is a Ronald McDonald house going to be like, even that on a level is like, what do you do?
Yeah. Is the dorms just going to be for them?
Yeah.
No plans. How do they eat? There's a lot that's going to go into it. So I'm glad I don't have to make the decisions and I can sit back and just talk about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you look at now a pro level. So I asked you kind of your thoughts on if you were an athlete during this in the college ranks. If you're a pro, you've already made some money. I mean, is there any reason for you to play? Is it just again, if you're one of those kind of fringe players, need to earn more money, but from a pro's perspective, excuse me, what's your thought going into this season? Is it something you even want to play, or you'd rather just like wait the season out?
Personally, depending on how much money I had, right? If I was Mahomes or something, I would say,
yeah,
I'm
good.
Hell with it.
Yeah.
No, but being a professional athlete, obviously you've trained your whole life to do that. You train all season to, be competitive and be the best that you can be for your team and yourself. But I would ask the NFL, what are they covering? Because contracts aren't guaranteed, right? So we all know that that's the biggest issue with the NFL. Everyone wants guaranteed contracts. Are you guaranteeing my contract if I go out here and I catch COVID? What on the insurance level? Are you going to back my insurance up because you only get it if you're a vested player 5 years post your last season you played? Are you going to extend it for me? Because these times are unprecedented. So what are you willing to do for me to make me go out there and play? You have to cover me. This is business now.
Yeah.
It's not just, college football where you're running around with your buddies and you're going to be there with someone for 4 or 5 years. This is a business. This is a revolving door. And what is the NFL going to offer these players? Because that's would be the rule number one. What are you offering besides the contract already signed? What is the addition to it? Because there's no way each team is staying in a bubble and living like the NBA players are in the playoffs. They're not doing that. So there's a chance that there will be around people and may catch it. If someone catches COVID in the NFL, what do you do?
Yeah.
The numbers wise, you're not playing with 12 guys. It's 60 guys, 65 guys in the locker room.
Oh,
what do you do?
Yeah, and that would just rip through the locker room real quick, I'm sure.
Yeah, just like a staph infection, right?
Oh, yeah. Or just a cold.
Yeah. There you go. You send people home for that. You don't come back for a few days. But with this, you don't even know how long. That's 2 weeks, 14-day quarantine. What if guys got to get on ventilators?
Yeah.
Who knows? Right? This is the time that I'm glad, for the first time, I could say this, I'm glad I'm not playing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think of even, and now we're just getting way deep down diving into this, but you think, say we get to, and hopefully by then there's a vaccine, but say we get to late December, early January, playoff implications on the line. Say we're talking LA Rams, you're an 8-win team. You need that 9th win to make your playoff push. All of a sudden, Jared Goff tests positive, but he's not showing symptoms. He feels great. He feels like he's ready to play. It's football, man. You want to get out there. You play with broken bones. You play with anything. You're going to go out there with your guys, and all of a sudden they have to not only sit him out, send him across the city somewhere else in quarantine, and you have John Walford right now is now going to be your quarterback to get to your 9th win to get to the playoffs. I mean, how does that to me is going to be the biggest issue is when players get it, do they sit down? Is it like the whole concussion thing? Are we not reporting it? All of a sudden be like, hey, keep shush. I didn't test positive. We're doing false positives here.
Right.
How do you play with that? I mean, that's going to be the fascinating thing.
You can't. I mean, you might as well say you treat it like an injury and you have to report it. You have to be sidelined for a certain amount of time. But how many people can you put on injured reserve? You know, if one thing's more severe than the other, you get to come back. And there's where we have this funky situation with the rules that they've created in the sport, and then you bring in this new juggernaut that has no bearings or no guidelines to anything. What do you do? So I'm going to be really surprised if they have a season this year. I'm just going to be honest. I don't see it happening because you can't come up with ways to keep these guys safe from it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm trying to stay positive and optimistic just because I want it so bad, but I just don't see how. And we talked about the NBA that's in a bubble, and NFL now, and what Baltimore announced that they're only going to have 14,000 fans. That's still 14,000 fans. They're not in a bubble playing in front of nobody. So I don't know how you stipulate the fans. Are they going to have like partitions in between the seats? It's weird, man. It sucks, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, and now we are starting to learn what it's like to, you know, miss entertainment and stuff like that, and how do we adapt, because this may just be the new way. We do not know.
Yeah. Well,
and it's unfortunate because you can be a full believer on it, or you can be on the opposite side, but there's still someone that has to make these rules, right? So
yeah,
who knows?
And there's always a happy medium. So, what have you speak of, this may be the new norm, at least for the time being. Just out of curiosity, what have you been up to for entertainment? Do you entertain yourself in certain ways? Or what do you?
Netflix and chill, bro. What else is there to do? There's Netflix and chill. There's Amazon Prime.
There's a new Hulu movie that came out today. I'm probably going to be checking that out later.
Right. There's do-it-yourself projects. It's a tough time. You can't really go to the beach sometimes because they're shutting those down, and then the pools are shut down unless you have one. Honestly, I'm just looking at what's going on. I've been listening more, watching. I was a union member when I was in the NFL with the PA, so I call those guys and check their pulse of what they're doing, and that's it. It's keeping me busy just to know that, okay, any second they could say, okay, we're gonna play everything full speed, and then in 2 days someone could test positive, and then it shuts it all down. So I'm just here to watch. I've been a good listener.
Well, yeah, that's good. And everything going on in the world, it's good to be a good listener. I feel, other than trying to create content and grind, I just feel like I've been drinking a lot more. I feel like a lot of people probably know that.
I haven't done that.
Good for you. That's
I actually haven't done that, right? I actually haven't done that, which is great. I've just been really just paying attention, man, learning different perspectives. There's all these different ways to look at things and what they can do and how they can do it. And, some are, in a far left field somewhere, and some are logical thinking. And I'm just taking it all in, so I could say at least somewhat something nice and educated on the LA football show.
Yeah, no, as you do. So for sure. So, well, let's get to some positive news, at least for one person. Patrick Mahomes, man, signed upwards of $503 million, I think, is the total valuation. There's like weird language that says like 430 guaranteed, but it's not actually fully guaranteed. It's weird, but either way, crap ton of money. He still has 2 years left, so a 12-year deal essentially. What was your initial thoughts when you first saw, because we didn't get the numbers right away, just saw the length, the 10-year, because that doesn't happen very often.
I loved it just because you see that in baseball. You see these long extended contracts in baseball, guys get paid way down the line, because you got to understand, these organizations are making so much money off these athletes. You know what I mean? Like with the merchandise and the videos that they shoot and they can put out, and the athletes really don't have any say, or they get nothing for that. So now to see an athlete take charge and actually sign a 10-year contract, that's the most security a professional football players ever had, and signing a 10-year contract, I still think it's underpaid. If he continues to play the way he's playing and he does get another MVP, play in another Super Bowl, and does the same things he's done 2 more times, he's actually underpaid.
Yeah, well, considering what he means to the league and that team, he is the guy. He's everywhere. So you, as a former player, you like the long term. I know when I first saw it, I thought, well, first of all, that's great. Good for him. He well-deserved. But to me, I was like, as a quarterback, when the market resets so often, we see every year the quarterback one-ups another. Did he hurt himself in a sense? For example, say he signed a 4 to 5 year deal worth $250 million. So basically half of what he got for half the years. Well, then that contract ends, and when the market's been re-upped, all of a sudden he can sign another 5-year deal for now $400 million. So then his total valuation is over 700 instead of 500. Obviously, I'm just pulling numbers out of left field, but did you think that, or did you think it was smarter just to lock it up 10 years, injury be damned?
Lock it up, set the precedent for all these athletes coming up. Now other teams are on notice that they could do the same thing. And that helps the salary cap in certain ways. I liked it. You could look at it certain ways. Tom Brady took discounts to make sure his team was taken care of so they could always be competitive, and that's why they had so much success. When you see down the line other quarterbacks, they take all the money, 20% of the league makes 80% of the money, and then they cripple teams, but it's all about them right then. So taking that drawn out 10-year contract, just like Tom Brady in a sense, Mahomes is going to make money off the field also.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So you can catch up and make, $20 million from Coors Light every time he drops a silver bullet or cracks one open.
Yeah.
He's going to make some big time money. And he's going to be in movies. You know what he's going to be capable of doing.
Yeah. He'll be a billionaire in no time.
Yeah. So there you go. So I think it was a great move, the same way Tom was always taking discounts. And he finally got a big payday in Tampa, but there's nothing to say that he wasn't already making good money, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about don't compare your salary to the next man. You know what I mean? So what he did, he opened up a whole new avenue for teams to structure contracts. I would always be an advocate of the shorter the contract, the better, because they go by your years and how old you are.
Yeah.
Once you get to 30, it's like, oh crap, you're too old to do this, you're too old to do that, even though that's when you're really in your prime.
Mm-hmm.
To be completely honest, I had my best years when I was 30.
Yeah, you signed a lot of one-year deals too.
Yeah, and that's the best bet. You're betting on yourself. If you want to stop playing, you're done at the end of the year. If you want to continue, sign up.
Yeah.
So I would always be an advocate on one side of it, saying sign a shorter period of time so you can get back to the table, just like you mentioned. But what he did, he doesn't want to leave Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he probably said Andy Reid's going to be my coach this whole time, and you can't fire him. If he retires, that's one thing. But who knows what deal they made to make him sign that. And it's a great deal. I think it's a great deal. It's a great deal for football. It moves the needle a lot.
Yeah.
It just makes it more because these ownerships are making so much money off these teams, even if they're winning or not.
Yeah.
They're cashing.
Oh yeah.
So it's about time, player, really takes it to him and gets a big check like that.
Yeah.
And, all these kids coming up, they see it now, and all these quarterbacks coming up now, they're like, how much do you really value me?
Yeah.
Right? Because I want a deal like that. But now it's like, no, you got to be MVP, Super Bowl. You got to do, you got to have the trophies to do it.
Yeah. And, and I'm glad to see finally we're seeing higher guarantees. I still think it's shocking the league isn't just fully guaranteed when it's the most physical sport. And baseball, it's all fully guaranteed. And, that's a different debate for a different time. But I think we're getting closer at least. Hopefully it'll get there one day. But on the other end of the scale, obviously now huge amount of their cap. And I know we'll see the cap increase. It'll probably go down a little bit next year because of everything going on, but then it'll start to increase again and go up. Now you have one player making, I don't know the exact percentage, but probably close to 30 to 40% of your entire team's cap. You're not going to let a guy like Patrick Mahomes walk. That wasn't ever going to happen. They're going to basically give him whatever he wanted, which they did. But how much do you think this actually maybe hurts Kansas City for the future? Because you have guys like Chris Jones already saying he's probably going to be gone because he wants $20 million a year. And he said, if they don't sign me for that, I'm walking. Travis Kelce's only got a few years left. All these different guys, Tyreek Hill, they're not going to be able to keep them all. Is Patrick Mahomes, you think, good enough where they say, we don't care, we'll always be competitive with them? Or is this going to, long-term, maybe in the next 4 years, we could see Kansas City falling closer to the bottom of the AFC West?
Well, they've been there, and they've been at the top now, but they've been at the bottom before.
Yeah.
And now it's just maybe a financial thing. Why? I also feel this may be a little unorthodox, but Mahomes may be in a position where if they can't pay the guy in the field, he may be able to talk to one of his sponsors and be like, yo, give this guy a deal.
I've always said that. Does that ever
Why
happen?
wouldn't you?
I've always said, I'm like, why don't
I've
players
never seen
solve
it, but
their
why
budget?
wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because I've always thought,
That's what I was saying, like Seattle. Look at who, Paul Allen or, and stuff like that. If they have I don't know if this is true, right? I'm just saying, why wouldn't they not use what they have around them to make the money so it's not coming from football and they can make the same money?
Yeah.
Why not? And I think Mahomes could be a boss about it, and I think that's probably in the talks. I mean, I'm not the only one that can't be thinking it. You're thinking it too, right? So use your sponsors. Give him a deal. Give him a Beats by Dre deal. Give him a Gatorade.
A lot of great barbecue in Kansas City. Let's get some barbecue deals.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, create a grill and market the hell. I don't know. But again, there's all these other avenues that Mahomes may be able to do to keep his team together. Hell, he might pay him himself.
Well, that's what I've always thought. And I know this is not my money, but I know if I was in a business period doing something, making good money, and I wanted one of my friends, hey, come join me because I think we could do great. So in this situation, you're on a football team. Hey, you're great. You're not happy with your contract situation. Come join our team. We'll be Super Bowl ready immediately. We don't have enough cap to sign you what you want. I'll cut you the rest. I'm making $45 million a year. Yeah, I can cut you $5 million a year. Why not? And we'll just win 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I'll make it up in the back end by doing
Heinz Ketchup's paying me $10 million a year. I'll be good.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if we're not using our resources around, things can be done. You got to think outside the box and actually like, how can we make this thing work?
Yeah. When you're wearing the LeBron shirt, and LeBron might be one of the greatest business minds in sports we've seen in a long time. He's in so many different avenues of business and film, entertainment. A lot of these guys can do that too, obviously. And a lot of them are already, but you all of a sudden you see them starting their own brand, starting their own social media stuff. They're making money doing that. So, I mean, the opportunity is endless.
Yeah, exactly. So that may be in the cards for that organization. Like if you want to make sure he's good because you took this contract, you do it.
Yeah. So let's swing this a little bit. LA slanted with our Rams and Chargers here. So that, Goff, they signed Goff to a big contract. I think this is the first year it actually goes into effect. He was still on his rookie deal. And at the time, a lot of fans weren't, super happy about it. It was $134 million, I believe, with over like 105 guaranteed. And then obviously this year, 110 guaranteed. This year or last year, had kind of a down year. So everyone's like, oh man, we way overpaid Goff, didn't deserve it. And now you see this contract for Mahomes, which it just blows it. His guarantee is triple what Goff's full salary is. So do you think, and I don't know how much Rams football you have watched, obviously you'll start watching a lot more being on this show more, but do you think Goff is worthy of that? Or I guess let's just start with this. What's your overall expectations / interpretations of Jared Goff as a quarterback? Let's just start with that.
I don't think he's that bad. I think everyone just giving him a bad rap. If you look statistically wise, I don't think he's that bad. He threw more interceptions last year than he threw the year before, but yards wise, he wasn't far off. I think totally it was the team that didn't play well, right? They had contract situations across the board, and I just don't think the team played as well, and that was the effect of it. I think people caught on to the system a little bit. Todd Gurley wasn't full healthy like he was in 2018.
Yep.
Which took a lot of the, slack off of Goff when he's breaking tackles and, scoring long runs and doing what he does. So I think team success helps Goff a lot. And I think he just like any other quarterbacks, they're going to get the big money anyway.
Yeah.
Right? If you look across the league, if you have a decent year or two, these teams are paying these quarterbacks before they win Super Bowls, before they even get there. And he got to a Super Bowl. So I think the contract was warranted in this scope of how football operates. And now, like you said, with Mahomes' contract, everyone can take a look and say, hey, they could have did that.
Yeah, discount. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a discount, but the way the norm in football, that short term, affects the cap more than that long term does.
So when you were for the Cardinals, did you ever get your hands on Goff? You played him what? He was there his rookie year and his second year before you went up to Oakland, right? So you played him 3 times, I think?
Got close. One time I missed him. Got close. Got my paws on him. Yeah, I got my paws on him. He got away from me. So that's one of the guys I didn't get while I was in NFL. But I got quite a few of them. I got some good ones.
Who is this is off topic? Who was the toughest quarterback to bring down? Putting you on the spot.
Well, it had to be Ben Roethlisberger. He's just a big
Huge.
guy. I mean, he was bigger than me, and I was a defensive end. So I would say him. Elusive wise, trying to get Russell Wilson down.
Yeah. You play him twice a year.
You know, and that he's just so athletic that, you know, that's a pain. But the hardest to actually bring down has to be Big Ben.
Oh, there's so many times he's connecting guys with over the middle where he's got two guys draped over him, and you can see why.
Unreal.
Yeah. Aren't you glad that when you were at Cincy that Lamar Jackson wasn't in Baltimore?
Yeah, actually, my last year playing in Oakland, we played there. And I tell the story. I don't like telling it, but I tell it because I'm humble. And for some reason, the Raiders had me dropping in coverage. This is year 13. I should not be in open space. And Lamar just rolls out, and we're going to have to find this clip, right?
Oh, we'll find it.
He rolls out, and then he just, like, runs right at me, and I'm like, oh, crap. So I just pick a side to jump to. So I just jumped left, and he went right. It was, like, perfect. I don't care. Everyone's laughing.
Yeah. Like a soccer goalie. You just guess and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's all I could do at that rate. You know, like it's either I'm going to hurt myself trying to guess.
Yeah.
Dive one way if he gets there, whatever. I shouldn't be isolated versus Lamar Jackson.
No. Yeah, blame the defense there. That's a poor defensive play call. I don't know what they were thinking.
I'm looking at the defensive court like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know,
He's
looking at me, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, man. So that's funny, though. But, yeah, you mentioned Goff, and I agree with you. I think he is what he is, and some people try to label him differently. And we knew when coming out of Cal, he was a pocket passer that had some mobility but wasn't a running-style quarterback, but has great arm accuracy. He just needs a good offensive line and some good weapons, and we've seen how good he can be when they give him that, and we've seen how, I guess, mediocre he'll be when not given that. So I think if they get back to what they've been doing in the past in their Super Bowl year, Goff's going to be just fine. I think his contract, honestly, like you mentioned, the way the market's going, it was warranted. Was he maybe overpaid? I mean, you could say that in any profession anywhere when the market's set at a certain value and he's valued at that. So last thing about Goff, and then we'll move on to Herbert and the Chargers. But always it's in comparison. Goff, Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, just because they're drafted the same year, so they're always going to be in talks. Out of those three, just your fun personal opinion, how do you rank those guys? Or do you think Goff is the best out of them? Do you rank them all kind of evenly, just different?
You know, I really like Carson Wentz.
I love it.
He's just in a tough spot being in Philly, and the fans will just rip you up and down if you know you don't have your shoelace tied correctly. You know, those fans will just get on you. So, out of those three, I thought, you know, before Wentz got hurt, he was MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he was. Here in LA.
Hurt, I believe they would have won the Super Bowl. And we wouldn't be praising Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. So I honestly like Carson. I think he's the best quarterback.
I agree. I love Carson Wentz. I like, you know, cover the Rams. I like Jared Goff. I do. I really do like his game. I think he's a good guy. He's much quieter, softer spoken, but his teammates like him. There's something about Carson Wentz. There's just some of those players that you watch and you're like, that guy has it. Whatever it is, everyone tries to. Yeah. Just has that cool gunslinging mentality. He's escaped. He has that kind of Russell Wilson escapability, but then still has like the charisma of the big, not necessarily as big as Big Ben, but still a big guy in the pocket. So
yeah, they'll stay in there and throw it with guys jumping at him. Yeah, so that's I was a big fan of his. Like his rookie year, watching him. Obviously, I was in the league. Yeah, watching him play and seeing what he did. I mean, he did it to us. Like I went up there with the Cardinals. They absolutely destroyed us, and I was like, this kid's pretty good.
Yeah,
you know. And that's not a knock at anyone else. You know, obviously they're all successful in what they do, but I feel like Carson Wentz is the best one out of the three.
Yeah, I agree with you. And hopefully he'll stay healthy moving forward, which he did last year. Made the playoffs with a bunch of, you know, not a lot of great talent. I never like to knock anyone, but not a ton of talent as receivers. So we'll see if they improve on that. But, you know, looking now at the Chargers, you know, we talked a little bit about Goff and kind of how his contract compares to Mahomes. So we think it's a steal. Now we look at, you know, the guy they drafted in the first round there out of Oregon, Justin Herbert. May not start this. We'll start with this again. I guess we don't need to get the contract before I hear your opinion on this, since we're still feeling each other out, getting to see how we feel about these different guys. But Do you think it's going to be Tyrod Taylor starting, or do you like Justin Herbert? If obviously all this is precedent on an actual season happening, but
Well, you don't go wrong starting off a veteran just so the kid can play catch up and learn, right? But right now, there's no spring ball, there's no OTAs or minicamp, meaning no spring ball. As of right now, we don't have a target training camp, spot and time. There's nothing wrong with starting a vet. I think obviously they drafted a kid high enough that he's going to be the future. His pedigree says he's going to be the future. Obviously, where they drafted him says he's going to be the future. I think you go with Tyrod Taylor just to start it off. If it was a spring and all that, and you have this bulk of time and get reps, that could be a different story going into training camp onto the season. But since we missed this whole portion of it, I think going with a veteran that has a good grasp and knowing timing of routes and games that the D line are going to run on you and how to where you fit your pocket. I think he has to see that visually to get a grasp. Not saying it can happen, but that's why you have a solid backup with Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, him and every rookie's at a disadvantage just because of how this offseason is, not being able to get the on-the-field work. Did you watch – I'm assuming you did. Did you watch quite a few USC games last season?
Yeah.
So did you catch the Oregon game where, USC looked great at the beginning and then Oregon came roaring back, obviously had special teams and defense help. But what did you think Herbert looked in that game, and how did you – obviously going into the year he was a top NFL prospect, but after watching him either in person or on TV play against our Trojans – did you think, okay, yeah, this guy does have it? Or you think, yeah, he's good, has obviously the size, but there's still some learning to do?
Well, like you said, they roared back with special teams. I think they had a kickoff return.
Not to cut you off, but there was a moment where I was like, USC is going to win this game. This is great. And then
I did too. It was a hell of a pace for the first half. And then second half was just they just opened up on us.
Yeah.
And so, again, watching the first half, you'd be like, yeah, he's the average kid. He's in there, but the second half was just different once people calmed down. And, me being an SC guy, we had a lot of deficiencies in, scheme and confusion all across the board. Special teams wasn't in whack. And that all plays a factor in everything because some guys play special teams and they could be carrying on a play that they had before onto the next play. And it's a triple down effect. But, towards the end of that game and just going forward, he showed clearly that's why he was going to be drafted. You kind of seen that he was going to go to San Diego Chargers. I don't know if anyone came out and said it, but it just looked like a perfect fit for what we have going on in LA with the receivers that we do have at the Chargers. I think he's a good fit for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he totally fits Anthony Lynn's system and what they want to do there with a more mobile quarterback. And you expect that game, and I think you see his ability to improve throughout a game, which is so important at every position, but especially quarterback. I mean, you can have your rough first halves, but you got to be able to improve after the locker room and come out and lead your team, which you did. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And like I said, his pedigree, you do a little research on the guy, from his grandfathers and, dad. I mean, he's got the pedigree to be a tremendous athlete, so it's just all about opportunity and being in the right place. And like you said, with Coach Lynn's offense, the Chargers have always struggled for all these years just because the deficiencies in Phillip Rivers. He's had the pluses and he has the minuses, meaning he can't get out of the way.
Totally.
And now we see a guy that can actually get out of the way, and he's a little bit quicker. I don't know, if he plays 20 years, he'll be, in the same boat. But right as of now, how old he is, he's a little bit quicker and swifter to get away from the pocket and make some plays on the run. And I think that's exactly what the Chargers need to move the chains more and get some more points on the board.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm excited to see his development and how he'll grow into the system. But yeah, I think he's a perfect fit. Really, any of the three quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and him could have, I think, fit that system. But Herbert was the third one taken there. So it'll be fun to watch. We won't do it this episode, but I next week I really want to talk to you, Frostee, about some of the defensive linemen with these Rams and Chargers, since that's your specialty. We're talking quarterbacks. You've done a great job. I know your specialty defense. We got some, great linemen on both teams. Obviously, Aaron Donald, that's the easy one, but you still have Michael Brockers. You have Sebastian Joseph Day. Over on the Chargers side, you have, Justin Jones. Jerry Tillery was a high draft pick. So we'll tease that next week. Maybe we'll get into some defensive line, get into the trenches.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. Yeah, Melvin Ingram, a lot of good guys. So,
Yeah.
well, cool, man. Well, this was fun. I appreciate you. I'm really excited about the direction of the show now that you're taking it on with me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you LA fans, you stay tuned. We're going to get better, especially when I can talk about what I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get more into that, which is great. Frostee Rucker, where can everyone find you? I know you're on the social medias. Where can people find you at?
Yeah, I'm at The Organic Frost, and that's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And hope to hear from you guys. Any questions you guys have out there, make sure you send me a message, DM, and we'll address it on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can find me at Ryan Dyrud, LAFB on Twitter, Instagram, Ryan Dyrud. The show is LAFB Network. This is the LA Football Podcast. Thank you all. Have a happy and safe weekend. We'll talk to you all next week.